Hello, good morning. Okay, I'm going to give a few minutes just for people to go on live and then we'll get the discussion started. So happy to be here with you guys. It looks a little blurry on my end. So if you guys are noticing that, just let me know and I'll see what I can do about that. Okay. How are you guys doing? This is so great. All right, people are coming on. Good morning, good morning. Feel free to ask any questions that you might have in the group chat. And I'm going to go ahead and get started. This training will be about 20 to 30 minutes and it's completely free. And so what's happening is I'm doing another training, another discussion group for agency owners. And I thought it could be really, really useful to also have one for those who are brand new into the reimbursement programs, or you've heard about Carrot, but you're not really sure what it is. And so this is going to answer a lot of those initial questions and the introductory of Carrot itself, as well as other reimbursement programs, how to navigate it, and a little bit on why we want to be in that field and maybe we don't, right? So I'm going to give all that introductory information. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I do have a little, I have a slide deck that I want to show you guys. But it looks like it's not working. So let me try one more time. Okay, my slide isn't showing. That's fine. So I want to just start by saying hi. If you don't know me yet, my name is Melissa Fernandez. I am a certified postpartum doula. I also am the owner of the agency, the Atlanta Postpartum Doula in Atlanta, Georgia. And I have worked with a lot of families who have Carrot benefits as well as other programs. And so that's been my experience with this specific topic. And I also have a lot of experience with reimbursement through insurance in general. And I guess I never really put two and two together for why this is really an easy concept for me to understand and grasp this Carrot stuff. And it's mostly because I did it for many, many years with my other employer. When I worked with Cirque du Soleil, they had a lot of reimbursement stuff that we did. So I was continually doing super bills. I was doing a ton of the CPT codes, the diagnosis codes for all the medical providers that I was working with. And it was very normal for me. So that's why when I stepped into the Carrot aspect within the agency model and my business, I was like, yeah, I know what this is. It's slightly different, right? Because it's not directly through insurance, it's reimbursement. So that's what we'll kind of talk about today too, and the differences with that. If there's time, I will also discuss a little bit about super bills, diagnosis codes, CPT codes, and what that means specifically for doulas, agencies, and navigating the insurance side, which is separate from Carrot and other reimbursement programs. They're two totally different things. So my background, besides being, a postpartum doula and an agency owner, is that I was a high-level gymnast. I was an NCAA gymnast, as well as I performed in Cirque du Soleil on an acrobatic touring show for almost 9 years. So that's my biggest background in my life experience. And now I'm, shifting into this career industry full force. So if you're here live right now in the chat, or even if you're watching replay, I would love to learn a little bit about you. Share your name, your business, where you're located at, and if you have any questions specific to reimbursement programs or insurance as well. So you can drop that in the chat. I'd love to hear from you guys. And let's go ahead and get started, okay? We'll get right onto the topic of who this training is for. So this is for brand new doulas. This is for experienced doulas. This is for anyone who wants to learn more about accepting clients that are using reimbursement programs like Carrot. That's the biggest one that's known right now. And the reason that this matters is it's just helpful information to know so that you're informed about the way that the industry is moving right now with these programs, and to be informed when a potential inquiry comes to you and shares that they have this, and so that you know what to expect. You could tell them very clearly, yes, I know how to do that and I would love to work with you, or no, I'm not sure, or I'm not qualified to accept those benefit programs right now. So that's why this is super important. And there's an opportunity here, right? When you're able to accept reimbursement clients, this helps you to book a client, which is important, right? But also, a lot of these reimbursement programs have large funds that they are able, the clients, right, who would be your client, they get a large sum of money to use for your services. So you would be booking in larger packages, most likely, which is going to increase your revenue. So that's a beautiful opportunity, right? So what is Carrot, right? What is it? We'll talk mostly about Carrot in this free chat. Carrot is a benefit program. It's Carrot Fertility, and it's a benefit program that employers give to their employees as a package. It's a benefit package that they receive. So you've got your employer here, you've got the employee, and then you've got you as the doula over here, and the employee can work directly with the doula using the funds from the employer to get their services paid for. The doula services can get paid for through the employer program, right? So it's just a benefit program. It's not insurance. It's a benefit program. And they receive a certain amount of funds to be used for fertility and doula services. And there's a few other services in there as well, but those are the biggest ones, right? And so the things that are generally the same with Carrot all across the board for all of the clients right now, as of March 11th, 2025, is that they have a 6-week timeline. The thing that changes for each person who has Carrot is the amount that they will receive. Some families will get 1,000, some will receive 2,000, some get 5,000, some get 20,000, and some get 50,000. There is a wide range of how much that they are allowed to get reimbursed with. So that's a question that you always want to be asking them as well when you're having these conversations. What benefit program are you using, and what's your reimbursement, like what's the amount that you're able to be reimbursed? Do you want to use all of that amount with our services? Those are questions that I generally ask. Most of the time they'll tell me, yes, I'm with Carrot and I receive $10,000 reimbursement, and I would like to split some of this up with a labor doula and the other remaining for postpartum doula services. So those are examples of how that could work. So let's talk a little bit about the differences between private pay, reimbursement programs, and insurance. So private pay is where the client is going to come directly to you and they're going to directly work with you and pay you directly. There's going to be no additional steps involved in the booking process. It's going to be that they sign the agreement, they pay the invoice, you give them your receipt, invoice, and that's it. The difference with the reimbursement program is in order for the client to be reimbursed through the employer and the benefit program, there's just a couple steps that they have. So each program is going to have a specific criteria that they need to accomplish in order for reimbursement to happen. The biggest one in nearly all of the reimbursement programs, I have not seen one yet that doesn't require this. You must be a certified doula. That's the biggest requirement. You have to be a certified doula. So if you're wanting to get reimbursed for labor doula support, your certification has to say you are a certified labor and birth doula. If you're wanting to get reimbursed through postpartum services, your certificate has to say certified postpartum doula. Especially CARE is getting very, very strict about that policy. Your certificate has to say the exact words postpartum doula or birth doula certified. That's the biggest thing. So when you're working with a client who has a reimbursement program, it's really important to ask them, what do you need in order to get reimbursed? And they will have to go back to their program, CARE, and say, what are the requirements that I can send over to the doula? And then that's what they'll give you. And then you can look over that. So usually with CARE, it's being a certified doula, and it's that the invoice that they get sent has specific qualifications on there, specific things that they need. They need the amount, the dates that you'll be working, your address, the name of your business, your name, your certifications. They like it to be on a letterhead. And if that does not get approved, they also will send you a template that you can use. And we'll talk about that more later. And then the difference with that and insurance is that insurance, you have to provide a super bill, CPT codes, diagnosis codes. And this is really, really tricky. It's a big point of like conversation in the industry, in our industry. And it's really simple, actually. And I know it can feel tricky because even myself, I've gotten to a point, there was a situation I had where I was like, oh man, I know what I know is my truth and what is certain for our industry, but why is X, Y, and Z happening? Okay, so for doulas, unless you are working directly with an insurance provider like Aetna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna, unless you are working directly with them and they have given you CPT codes and diagnosis codes, usually this happens through Medicare, right? Like you're working with a state-funded, federal-funded program directly with insurance, or TRICARE is another one that they do that, right? So that's when you would be able to do this. But if you don't have that, doulas don't have any medical codes. We don't have CPT codes. We don't have diagnosis codes. We legally cannot provide codes on our invoices, on our receipts, on our things to clients for reimbursement through insurance. If we are doing that, we are placing ourselves and our business at risk for committing insurance fraud. So it's super, super important that we don't provide super bills with those codes, because we don't have codes. Diagnosis codes and CPT codes are specifically for medical providers, and doulas are not medical providers. Even the codes that people will tell you, oh, you can do this one, even like Born Beer has a blog article about which codes to put onto your invoices for insurance reimbursement. And they're incorrect, because those specific codes are for nurses in the postpartum unit providing postpartum support and services at the hospital field. Like, that's not what we're doing. So those codes are specific for medical providers like an RN or a lactation provider working directly at the hospital. And we are not those things. That's why we're not able to use those codes. The thing that gets tricky is that the insurance providers will talk to the clients on the phone and tell them, yes, your doula can use those codes and you can get reimbursed. And it's not correct. So it's really awkward when the insurance is telling the client that, but we know that we don't have any medical codes or diagnosis codes. And at the end of the day, what I've found is that the insurance company is the one that's going to win in this scenario, because they're putting our agencies, our businesses, our personal, like, heart and soul, that what we do in this field, in this job that we do, this career, and they're placing it at risk for insurance fraud. And so we would not win in that situation. So I highly suggest not using codes. Okay. And then the last thing, let's talk a little bit about how to get your clients reimbursed through CARE specifically. We'll go by this step by step. And it's actually really, really simple. The first thing is that you have to be a certified doula. whether it's a labor doula or a postpartum, right? So even if you're an experienced NCS or you've been a postpartum doula for like 20 years, but you're still not certified, you will not be able to accept clients using reimbursement programs because you're not certified. So that's the first thing, being certified in your field. So the second thing is that, let's say the client wants to work with you. You have to find the clients, right? You have to have these clients that come in to you with benefit programs. And I'll tell you how to do that next. But let's say you are chatting with one, they want to work with you, so you get into the next step of the booking process. With Carrot specifically, you're going to need to fill out an attestation form. It takes 3 minutes. It's really simple. It's like 2 pages long. You check box the things that are accurate. You put in the total hours you're going to be working with them. You put in the total price, and you upload your certificate, your certification. And it's not your training certificate that you've taken a training. It's the one that says your name is a certified postpartum doula, and you upload it. You wait, 2 hours all the way up to 2 days to hear back from Carrot that yes, you've been approved. Once you receive the approval, then you move into signing your regular agreement and paying your invoice. Sometimes with your service agreement, you have to make sure that there are not additional things put into the contract, like you're doing meal delivery services or anything that's outside of the general scope and role of a doula, right? So oftentimes they are not sending those contracts to Carrot. All they're looking for reimbursement is the invoice. And you can either send your normal invoice, as long as you're adding in the things that they need, like I mentioned this earlier, right? Your name, your date, your business letterhead, your hours that you're working with, the dates that you're working with, the total amount. And that, once the client pays you, they are paying you first, right? They're paying you. Then it's business as usual for you, right? They sign, they pay, they're a client of yours. Then the client does all the reimbursement on their own. They take that invoice and they submit it to Carrot. And that's it. They're an official client. There's no more that you need to do unless Carrot doesn't accept it and says they need to add X, Y, and Z to the invoice. You add it to the invoice and you send it back. And that's it. It's super, super simple. Now, some practices for reimbursement success on the first time is just to make sure that you're asking your client questions. If you don't have the template for the invoice that Carrot provides, you can ask the client for that and they'll get it to you. That will give you great guidance on what exactly you need to have on your invoices. Or you just fill out that paper by hand. You fill out the information and you send that over, and you get the client gets reimbursed. So to make this really simple, you're not really doing much different in your normal client booking process outside of signing and completing the attestation form. Everything else is simple. Everything else is the same. Sign the agreement, pay the invoice, and it's done. They're just submitting for reimbursement. Now, some reimbursement programs, like through CVS or Walmart or other businesses like that, they don't have you sign an attestation form. All that they need is your certificate and an invoice. And that you just send over to your client and they handle all the reimbursement themselves. Okay, so that's what I have for that right now. Let me look and see if there's any questions that you guys may have. And you can, oh yeah, I'm gonna look at the chat right now. Okay, hi Marta, so glad you're here. Okay, great. Do you guys have any specific questions about reimbursement programs or accepting Carrot clients, navigating the process itself, insurance questions maybe? I'm happy to answer all those right now on the call. And there's a group chat that you can pop them in. And if not, that's totally fine too. I just thought it would be really helpful to discuss this stuff because there's so many questions and people are wondering, how do I get Carrot clients? Maybe we should talk about that a little bit. How do I get Carrot clients? So the thing is, you don't get them. There's not a directory of like, oh, I need to add my name to this list to be considered for Carrot clients. They don't have that. That's not what it is. It's a client has insurance through their company, and the company that they work with has a benefit program and package that allows for a chunk of money to be reimbursed for fertility and doula services. So one of the best things you can do is on your website, you put on the home page, probably like not the first thing, but like the second or third. Yes, I accept Carrot clients. I accept Carrot benefit programs and other reimbursement programs. And then when they click on your services page to learn more about what you provide, on that page, you also have Carrot approved. Carrot, I work with Carrot benefit program and other better benefit programs. Sorry, you guys know what I'm trying to say. And then on your contact form, you can have a little logo or something at the bottom that says, yes, I accept reimbursement programs. You can also put up a social media post about it saying, what questions do you have about benefit programs? Frequently asked questions, right? Or you can also put, I accept Carrot clients. When you share the message, when you communicate and you're marketing, right? But it's also just simply letting everybody know that, yes, I accept Carrot clients. We work with Carrot benefit program. Sign up. You've got to put it out there. You can even write a blog. That would honestly be the best way to like boost up your SEO, is writing a blog about Carrot and how it works and how many, like I should probably do that. And like share, we've worked with over 15 families and had 15 successful reimbursements. We would love to work with you if you have Carrot benefits or another program. Okay, so there's that. I don't see any questions yet, so I can just keep talking. Yeah, I think that's all I have right now. I have a little outline I'm reading from to make sure I chatted about all the things. It really can be super simple. It doesn't have to be this big mountain of a thing. It's really just quite hands-off. And as long as you're able to do this simple steps, it's really supportive to them, to the clients, and also your business and your revenue. Because if you're able to take on these bigger packages, that solidifies your work, right? So you're working with families more consistently and like back to back. So you always know you've got consistent revenue coming in, and it's a chunk of change. Let's also talk about getting paid, because I think this is a big one too. And a reason for why it's super easy for me when I do Carrot clients is that we do pay in full up front. So even if, like, I had people in January and February of this year booking in services with us for June and July. So that's a huge amount of time, right? And I do postpartum doula services. They were still paying me in full for services in July and their Carrot reimbursement. And what I tell them is we do pay in full at contract signing. And most people don't bat an eye. They're totally fine with it. Some families would like a split pay option, and I'm fine with that. And then I tell them if they want options more than that, where they want weekly invoices or they want 4 payments or 5 payments, any kind of payment plan outside of the pay full and split pay requires a $297 admin fee, especially for Carrot, because that starts to get really messy when you're having to submit those invoices all the time. So if you're someone who, let's say you do a retainer at contract signing, and then when services begin, you do weekly payments, that's going to get really taxing admin-wise for you to submit for reimbursement. They're submitting to reimbursement, but you still have to send them over the invoices drawn out for every week. And if you're working with them with 6 weeks, that starts to get really tedious. So maybe you could play and explore with, okay, if I'm going to be working with these Carrot clients, what if let's just start with carrot clients first, that I will do a pay in full option with them so that you're only having to give them one invoice for reimbursement, which makes it easier for them. It makes it so much easier. And this question might be coming up for you. Will Carrot reimburse them for services during their pregnancy? And they do. They do. So my client, I think it was a little over $15,000 contract for their due date in end of June, July, and August is when they'll be serviced. And Carrot has already reimbursed them for the funds. So it's really advantageous to everyone, and it makes it so much more simple for them, for the family, and for you. So that's what I would play and explore with, is what would it feel like to get paid in full for services at contract signing versus having all these weekly payments and this retainer and all these things that just can get, sometimes challenging to navigate all that, right? Why not let it be easy for you and for the client? I do feel that there's this level of confidence in ourselves and our services and our value to be able to sell that. Because at the end of the day, when we're, having these inquiry calls, it's a sales call, but it can still be really warm, compassionate, intuitive, fun to be having these conversations with people. And with the work that you provide, you can get paid in full up front and block it out in your calendar. And it can be less admin work and be really easy. And you can get these Carrot reimbursement programs coming in, landing you jobs, securing you for your whole year, and getting paid really, really well. Maybe it's an opportunity that you realize you can up your prices, your hourly rate, your labor doula services. Isn't an opportunity to increase that? It could be, so that maybe with that rise, you're also taking less clients and making the same amount of money and getting more rest and sleep and being with your family and friends. So lots of layers to it, obviously, but just some things to think about. Okay, I hope you found this really helpful. I am going to be speaking to doula agency owners and aspiring agency owners this Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's going to be specifically for doula agency owners to have conversations around challenges, finding solutions with these reimbursement programs, specifically Carrot. So if you're an agency owner, you can come to that event as well. And if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out directly. I'd love to chat with you. And thank you for listening to this. Oh, the final thing, if you find that you are looking to get certified because you want to start accepting reimbursement clients, right? I do have a certification program for postpartum doula support. So if you would like to explore that, send me a message. I'll send you over the link and you can review that and see if it's a good fit. I have 2 pathways for certification. So one is like the more traditional brand new postpartum doula, then the other one is a quicker, faster route. So if you already have experience as a full-time nanny or NCS, or you've been a doula for a very long time and now you're ready to commit and jump in and get the certification, that's going to be the pathway you'll want to take, is pathway 2. And just send me a DM and I'll share the information with you. Okay, have a fantastic day. See you guys later.